Hi, Solara here. I hope you guys are all doing well today. I am here to do your full moon in Aries Tarot Astrology Ascension report. It is 7:42 as I hit the record button here on Wednesday, the 16th of October. So we are about 15 hours, 15 or 16 hours away from the full moon in Aries. And as I always like to say, if you've been rolling with me for a few years, you know the full moon in Aries is always crunk. If the full moon in Aries had a song, it would be that song that I can't remember the name of the actress, but I always feel it coming through for the full moon in Aries. It goes, I don't want nobody fucking with me in these streets. I don't want nobody fucking with me in these streets. I don't want nobody fucking with me in these streets. Ain't nobody got time for that. Every year without fail, that song comes through for me on the full moon in Aries. And I have to say that this year it's not as strong, but it's still coming through a little bit. And I think the reason why it's not coming through as strongly as it has in previous years is because what this full moon in Aries actually represents. So Aries is connected to, is ruled by Mars, which is one of the fighting planets of the zodiac. It's the male expression of the warrior. And these years that we've been going through ascension have been all about being in that warrior mode, being very protective, being very defensive, at times offensive when necessary, learning how to battle. Right? And but it's funny because this full moon in Aries feels like it's shifting that energy and that dynamic, and partly it's courtesy of the nodes waning into their 0 degree position to begin to welcome in to the North Node in Aquarius season next year, the more watery, dreamy energy of Pisces. 1944 in my clock. Just have to share that. And what we're dealing with right now is we're dealing with the transitioning of the first and the last. When you think about it, that's a theme that's coming through also, because Aries being the first sign on the zodiac wheel and Pisces being the last sign on the zodiac wheel. So it's an interesting energy we find ourselves in the midst of as the nodes continue to travel towards the 0 degree mark. So I say all of that because it feels like this full moon in Aries, it's very Piscean in nature, even where it is, its degree is a Pisces degree. So tomorrow when the moon reaches its fullness in Aries at 24 degrees, the sun will be in Libra at 24 degrees. Okay, so before I get into that, I just want to take a moment to welcome you. I haven't welcomed you yet. Thank you for being here. My name is Solara. I am a tarot astrologer. That means I do not apply the usual application of classical astrology. I don't care if it's Western. I don't care if it's Vedic. I can read the energies either way. And I'm not a classically trained astrologer either. I am a channeler. I channel the planets. I channel the energies. And that's what I do. So as such, while some of the things I will refer to are astrological in nature, and I do utilize the tropical chart to read the energy, I'm not a I don't read energy conventionally, and therefore the rules that you would apply to someone who's reading astrology don't really fit me. Okay, so yeah. I'm going to give a quick disclaimer. Please don't try to put me in any kind of box or try to tell me how to do what it is that I've come here to do uniquely. There's a lot of that flying right now, and that's because people who don't know how to assert their personal authority and sovereignty over self try to control other people. But that Aries energy doesn't allow for that shit to slide or to fly. So I've had a little bit of it. It's been a bit more sly recently, but I'm just here to say I'm not open to it. So please don't bring it here. Like, this is a place of peace, and beings who are at peace with themselves don't try to bring their havoc into other people's fields. Don't nobody got time for that. Anyway, let's get into this. So the sun and the moon. Sun in Libra at 24 degrees, Moon in Aries at 24 degrees, 24, double 24, that is Piscean energy. It is a degree of Pisces, astrologically speaking. This full moon is bringing forth a lot of closure. Not for nothing, the new moon in Aries occurred on April the 8th of this year, and that was an eclipse. And I don't know if you guys remember, I'm going to take you back, but that was a really intense shift in the power structures that occurred on the new moon that for many of you, you may have experienced quite viscerally. And this full moon in Aries is closing out a certain chapter within that power transference. So what that means on the collective level is that this full moon in Aries is kind of solidifying the close of the fuckery, which is why, to me, it feels less fiery and fighting in nature and more assertive, yes, but not like combative. You know, it doesn't feel combative, whereas the Aries full moon in the past has felt more combative to me. We had more to combat at the time, and that's not to say that many of us are not still dealing with fuckery and, you know, what we would call warfare. That's not it at all. But for many of you, you might find that your strategy has been shifting recently, that you've moved out of a place of active combat and more into a place of surrender because it's time. There's a time to fight. There's a time to fight and to, to get your land back. And then there's a time to recognize when you've got your land back, to put your spear into the ground and to stand on that truth. And that's kind of what the energy feels like right now. It feels like those of you who've gotten your land back, you don't have to fight anymore. Even if it hasn't fully materialized, even if you're still dealing with fuckery, if you know that you've already won the battle and you've gotten your land back, then it's time to just put the spear in the ground and await for the materialization of that to occur. Okay, so April 8th of this year, think back to what was going on in your life, because there's going to be a resurgence of those themes. There's going to be closing out. There's going to be new chapters and new cycles opening up in those themes and in those energies. Okay, and a lot of it had to do with a complete shift in dynamics of power structures. And a lot of karmic retribution came in through that new moon in Aries. So the full moon in Aries is bringing that back full circle and opening us up into another chapter. Okay, so let's get into this. The sun in Libra at 24 degrees. That would be the sun card. Libra would be both the Empress and the Justice, the birthing of beauty and equilibrium and harmony back onto the planet. 24 degrees is the Four of Swords. I do need to apologize to you guys last time because I kept on saying it was a Four of Swords when it was a Three of Swords. It didn't really change what I was channeling anyway. It may have foreshadowed some of what it was I was bringing in for today's reading. But it did mean that I didn't hone in on the Three of Swords energies for two of the placements last time, so my sincerest apologies. I have been in an interesting time of transition, and it's been a little bit tumultuous at times, and so I'm finding my way through this storm too, so please excuse my humanity, my humanness, in making that mistake and that error that I didn't realize until a lot later on. So the 24 degree mark of Libra is the Four of Swords. Okay, so the Four of Swords is rest. Okay, so the new moon in Libra was opening the door for that. It was kicking the door open for that. And it was kicking the door open for that by helping us to also deal with a lot of our resistance to that due to the trauma cycles of the false matrix. But with the sun and the moon at this 24 degree mark, the 24 degrees of Aries is the Four of Wands. So we're dealing with Four of Swords and Four of Wands. Okay, so we're dealing with something being anchored in. It's funny that I say those stakes in the ground, because that's kind of what the Four of Wands is, and I wasn't thinking about that at the time. The Four of Wands is like the four wands in the ground that are going to create the structure and the foundation to build something new. And what are we building off of? We're not building off of strife. We're not building off of contention. We're not building off of other beings' ideals or interpretations of how it is they think we need to be or how we should show up. We're building off of what connects us to our value and our truth and our purpose on a soul level. And that is partially what the Four of Swords is. The Four of Swords is taking the time to rest, to recuperate, and to dream again. And there's a beautiful soul who said something to me yesterday that just struck me so powerfully. And he said to me, it's time for you to dream again. And when he said those words to me, there was a shift in my energy, like instantly. And I became more relaxed. And I began to recognize that I don't have to fight anymore. And I've been feeling that more and more, but there was something about hearing it back from somebody else who's acting as a true mirror to me. You know, like hearing them say that to me and making it more anchored in, more Four of Wands. You know, so you don't have to fight anymore. It's time to start dreaming your new reality. I think we often forget because we were programmed, we were conditioned by the false matrix that if we wanted to produce something materially, we had to work for it, we had to chase it, we had to strive for it. But I think we've forgotten that all of this began as a dream. All of this began as a dream. Literally every single thing that exists materially, including you, began as a dream. Whether beings consciously connected with that dream to bring you forth or not doesn't eliminate the fact that you were in the dream. You were in the dreaming. For any of you who, you know, have watched and resonate with the Sandman series on Netflix, it's a great series. You should check it out. If you're into, you know, like the metaphysical and mythology and all that stuff. So everything began in the dreaming. Everything. And so if we are to bring forth a new world, we're not going to bring it forward through contention and fighting ourselves or one another or striving. We're going to bring it forth by reconnecting with the dream. And here's the thing, every year this time we enter into this dreaming portal, this portal of creation. You know, I feel it every year. I wrote about it a lot last year when I started my Substack and began to write, you know, more comprehensively on these energies and, you know, how they affect me also in my individual awakening. But last year I felt it more succinctly and I wrote about it more deeply. And for those of you on Substack, I actually think what I'll do is I will bring back to life from the archive the piece, I think it was called Dream Weavers Arising, that I wrote last year, more like in, I think, Scorpio season. But as we move through Libra and enter into the Scorpionic waters, straight through Sagittarius and Ophiuchus if you do 13 signs tarot, and even Capricorn to a certain extent, because let's not forget that Capricorn is the sea goat for a very good reason. We enter into the dreaming. We enter into very watery energies where we are able to access the templates of all creation in order to create and to co-create new worlds, new realms, new realities, new timelines, whatever you want to put the potency of your creative energy towards, you can do. And this is the portal that begins to invigorate that, you know? And I feel like this year it's even more intense. And why is that? Because when you're in war and you're tearing things down, yeah, you're creating new things, and yes, as a, a creator being, you are in creative mode constantly. And so therefore you are connecting and tuning in with the dream. You're tuning in with the invisible and being able to bring things forward into the material through your thought processes and your feelings, absolutely. But when you're in the middle of war, that's not your priority. When you're in the middle of war, your priority is getting your land back so you can put the spirit in it and then rest so you can begin the dreaming process of what you're going to build on that land. And that's what it feels like. It feels like we've landed and we've put our flags down, and the energies that want to contest are still fucking contesting, but there's nothing really to contest once the land has been won. And so all they're doing is making some noise, creating a little bit of confusion and delay, you know, like Thomas the Tank Engine, you have caused confusion and delay. Anyway, they're causing some confusion and delay at times, but even that confusion and delay is working even more emphatically and obviously in your favor. And that's what today's sunrise salutation was about. Are you noticing that as these obstacles and as these old tactics of warfare try to re-enter into your reality, that you sometimes are instantly alchemizing them into something better, or alchemizing them into access to your gifts faster, or alchemizing them into your higher soul wisdom quicker? Are you noticing it? Because yeah, part of it is because of where you are on your journey and your own level of self-alchemy, but also it's because of the energies that are available for us to work with right now on the earth, especially courtesy of the 6 X-class solar flares we've had in the first 9 days of October. That is pure, latent solar code, God code, source code energy that has entered into the planet for us to play with. Do you know that's what it is? Do you know that's pure creator energy that has entered into the planet for us to play with? So are you playing? Are you resting and thinking about what it is you want to do with all of these tokens that you just acquired? You know, because that's kind of what it is. And think about it diligently. Take the time to dream. Dream and meditate. You know, dream and meditate. And as I record this, you know, the moon is in Aries already, and it's just moved out of Pisces yesterday. And that energy of the signs blurring, the Aries and the Piscean energy merging into a place of maybe not altogether oneness, but oneness of mind, oneness of vision. It's happening because the astrological chart isn't at odds with itself. That's a human projection. That's why I don't like some of the astrological terms. This is in opposition with this, and this is in detriment to this, and this is squaring this, which means it's... No, it's all working together for the beauty and the glory of harmony. Always has been, until we try to project these stories and therefore manifested them, because that's how powerful we are. You know, and now everything is shifting back into harmony and into alignment, and we've been given this beautiful creator energy, these creator codes that allow for us to dream again and to bring forth realities and timelines very rapidly, which is fully dependent upon our ability to tune into the dream and to tune into our righteousness, our right to our birthrights. You have a right to peace. You have a right to beauty. Divinely speaking, I know in the false matrix, that's anathema, right? Because I've had people say to me, you don't have a right to... It's like, okay, maybe you don't. If that's what you want to believe about who you are, your heritage. But I know who I am. And I ain't just talking about who I am in terms of my last name and my bloodline. I know who I am galactically and cosmically. And I know what I'm entitled to here on this earth. Do you? Do you know what your rights are? Because right now you can establish them on the earth planes based upon standing in that power and that truth. And in that power and that truth, dreaming whole new realities into existence. Accessing timelines and realities that you thought you never could get to before, or you thought it would take forever for you to get to, or because you bought the lie that the formula to get there means that you got to work. That's a lie. I spoke about this on my other channel. You know, the North Node moving into Pisces is about to activate us into the remembrance of how we draw everything out of the waters, the cosmic waters, to bring it into material reality like this. Because we can, and once upon a time we did, until we got fucked with and programmed out of our true settings. And Aries energy is always here to program you back into your true settings. Always here to program you back into your true settings. And Pisces is here to open the gates for you to enter into your truth, for as long as you're not intimidated, or duped through sentimentality, through emotions, through attachment, through other beings casting illusions. So we've got all of that at play here with this 24-degree energy coming through so vitally for tomorrow's full moon. We've got 2 5s. Well, we've got 3 5s on the board. We've got Mercury expressing itself through Scorpio at 5 degrees. And we've also got the nodes both in 5 degrees. That's 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. That's change. But that's not just change. That's systemic, institutionalized shifts. And not just based upon the systems and the institutions that have run us, but based upon the root motherboard energies, even internally, that have caused us to pledge allegiance to these external monuments that are just a reflection of our own self-rejection and self-betrayal. We built these. We built these systems. We built these governments. We built them all whenever we took our precious sovereignty and authority and gave it away to these beings to run us instead of running ourselves. And this 555 energy that's coming through Mercury and the nodes tomorrow is saying, oh no, there's a shift there too. And we've been shifting. And the shift that's coming through here is it's not only like about the sovereignty and the authority and the return of us taking back the reins over our own energy and over our own realities, personally, collectively, and on the earth planes, but it's also about the distribution of worth and value on this planet and how it's worked very specifically through the contracts, the banking, and the financial systems. Because we got Mercury talking to us through Scorpio. And Scorpio is the energy that connects us to banking. It connects us to how we're able to take our intrinsic gifts, to multiply them, use them together, to build together on the earth planes. It connects us directly to the financial institutions and those that system that created debt and indebtedness that forced us in the first place to have to reject ourselves and one another. Reject ourselves in truth and therefore reject one another in truth. Not for nothing, Scorpio is also the planet through which their spiritual black markets open. So Mercury is always already speaking to us because their spiritual black market season is upon us. And if you're standing in your worth and you're taking ownership, your Aries energy, you're taking ownership over yourself and your energy, then you take yourself off the market. And that's what we've been doing every year, more and more, as we have chosen self. But this year it's like monumental because there's such a grand awakening that's been occurring, especially through this most recent back-to-back X-class solar flare activity. Everyone's upping and leaving the workforce, right? And why are they upping and leaving the workforce? Because they realize it ain't shit and they're more precious than all of the resources and life force that they give to these jobs that don't give a fuck about them. You know, so that's become a movement. And that wasn't happening last year this time. Yes, it was happening it's been happening. It's been building. And now we've reached a crescendo in that, and it's going to continue to skyrocket because this whole bitch is coming down. The false matrix is coming down, and all things that supported her, including her slave economy. Because that's what it was. It was a slave economy, a pyramid scheme, where some at the top exploited the masses in order to keep themselves rich while they stole our resources and built their banking systems upon that shit. So Mercury's talking to us, already showing us how to strategize our own sense of worth, how to deal with these systems that want to devalue us constantly and want to take us for a ride. Mercury is speaking. Mercury's been speaking very loudly, through Virgo season, when it had all of that prominent energy in Virgo and Gemini in the midst of the retrograde. And now Mercury is taking us deep into the recesses of where this energy lies within us and within the systems and institutions we've pledged allegiance to. And if Mercury is taking us there, that means there's more exposure that's getting ready to come out. And we already know that because with the X-class solar flares hitting the planet, what was hidden and done in the dark can no longer be so. I saw a meme recently where somebody had captured that part of the Wizard of Oz where he's fumbling because he's been the curtain's been ripped from what he's doing, and he's there trying to still create his illusions, and he's there but he's fully on display. And somebody had captured that picture, and it was like, this is where we are right now on Earth. This is where we are in this season of Earth. This is where we are in ascension. And it's true, because the exposure has been coming in drips. But this is how energy happens. It has to gain momentum. It has to gain momentum, and everything that has been hidden to keep us enslaved and out of our truth and our power, it will be exposed. It's universal law because we're shifting into a completely new era and age. And ending many monumental cycles, not just, the age of Pisces, Kali Yuga, right? I think that's a 29,000 year cycle or something. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember, but it's something crazy like that. Many cycles are reaching the 12 o'clock position. It's not a time to play around, right? So, Mercury is preparing us for that. Preparing us so we also know where we're standing on the side of the energy when the exposure comes too. Because you don't want to be fucking around with these beings once the exposure starts to come also. But the only way to move out of that, and that's what Venus has been working on us with, is by connecting with the depth of what brings you pleasure, what brings you beauty, what brings you deep soul satisfaction, what aligns with the truth of your destiny and your purpose as imprinted upon your soul, and your soul can't lead you astray. Everything in the false matrix was designed to have you chasing a carrot that they said would make you happy, only to get there and find out that that carrot didn't satisfy you for shit. It wasn't even a good snack. Can I get some dip with that carrot at least? No. You want some dip? You've got to sacrifice more of your soul. Fuck that. My soul grows carrots when I close my eyes and think about them and desire them. Yeah. Yeah. So, Mercury. Mercury, let's break this down also so I don't forget the cards. Mercury is the magician. Scorpio, shout out to my Scorpios. I got a lot of Scorpio energy too, but I always will joke with you guys, you're the only ones on the zodiac wheel that requires 3 tarot cards, because that's how intense you are, and that's what you allow for us to go through in order to be fucking born again. So Scorpio energy is the death card, the tower, and the judgment. And we've got Scorpio, we've got Mercury expressing itself through Scorpio at the beginning degrees, and we've got Venus at the closing, the anaretic Scorpionic degree. So Mercury is the magician, Scorpio is the death tower, and the judgment card, 5 degrees, is the 5 of cups. So we're being spoken to right now, the 5 of cups. Where have you been giving your resources away to things that don't satisfy you, thinking that they will satisfy you, and meanwhile completely ignoring what it is that truly will satisfy you? And ignoring it because you've been told that it can't, or it shouldn't, or it won't make you enough money, or societally speaking it's wrong. Whatever story or narrative has locked you out of your heart's desire and truth. Mercury is having a real talking to, because all of that is based upon the systemic thinking to have you locked in a box where you would be a good little subservient being and do what was needed to be another cog in the machine and to stay at the bottom of the pyramid. So Mercury speaking, why aren't you going after what it is your heart desires? Don't you know that the true desires of your heart, not the ones that are in alignment with their fake ass programs that wound you, but the true desires of your heart are love notes from your soul. Don't you know that? Why are you running from love? That's what Mercury's saying. Why are you running from love? You say you want it, then you run in the opposite direction. It's time for you to stop running into the arms of your abusers, the systems, the institutions that guide you into your supposed happiness and security and stability. It's time to stop running into the arms of your abusers, and time to stop being so afraid of love. Five degrees is a degree of Leo. It's time to stop being afraid of love. Where did that story of being afraid of love begin? Because we all say we want it, right? And then when it comes, we run. When it really comes, we run. When it challenges us to be better, to want more, to accept our own beauty, we run from it. We do it unconsciously, but we do it nonetheless, you know, a lot of the time. And and that's just like, that's a reflection in relationship, but look at what it is that we do in life. We know there's something we want to do that we love, but instead we run to the thing that destroys us. Maybe slowly, destroys us nonetheless, because it offers like fake security. And meanwhile our souls are withering and we're perishing because we're moving out of alignment with love. Mercury's like, get the fuck back into alignment with love so you can stop crying over those fucking cups. Come on. Come on. Venus and Scorpio at 29, because, you know, Venus has already been talking to you, talking to me, talking to us, and telling us to get in alignment with our desires, our true heart's desires, to go deep, to figure out, you know, why it is we run from love, why it is we run from the things that we say we want. What is it that makes us so afraid to jump in all things, not just romance? And Venus is closing out that story, and Mercury is going over it now again. And then when we get into the Sun in Scorpio, more light will be shown upon those stories also. It's time to rise into love and to produce from love and to create from love and to dream a new world from that space. Dream new realities from that space. So Venus is the Empress. We have Scorpio again, is the death, the tower, the judgment. 29 degrees is another degree of Leo. It's the anaretic degrees. So both Mercury and Venus are expressing themselves through Scorpio at Leo degrees, fixed sign energies. Something is being established here. Four of Wands, Four of Swords, 4-4 energy. Something is being established. As it's being established, it's under very protective energy. I saw the clock at 1944, and now I'm realizing why. Right? The 4-4 is tarot energy, by the way. So the sun is at the Four of Swords. The moon is at the Four of Wands. That's 4-4 energy. That's the establishment of something that has to do with the emotional foundations and grids that create the true frequency of the earth. Also connected to the moon, but it's a whole other story. Let's get back to Mercury and Venus, both in opening and closing degrees of Scorpio, expressing themselves through Leo. More Leo energies coming back around. Today, as I record, we're at another 8-8 gate. It's the 16th of the 10th, 26. That's an 8 in 2024. 8, 8, 8 at another 8-8 gate. Not a portal, a gate. A checkpoint. A checkpoint. So this Leo energy is coming in very strongly, and with good reason, because the Leo energy, we have to recapture what we lost in the previous golden age, which was the age of Leo, in order that we properly root it into the foundations that we need for the age of Aquarius too. This is what this year has been about also. This year has been really focused on the wounded Leo energies. If you read my 2024 Tarot Astrology Full Ascension report, then you'll know that was the focus. The 8 is the Strength card, but it's also connected to Scorpio. A lot of themes from this year are coming into sublimation through this full moon in Aries. 8, 2024 is a number 8. 8-8 gate today as I record. 8 is connected in the tarot to the Strength card, which is a card of Leo. But 8 astrologically is connected to Scorpio. And then tomorrow, if you do your date like in UK standard, it's 818. So this is like we access the gate today and we can walk through it tomorrow, and we walk through it tomorrow courtesy of this full moon in Aries portal also that's opening, with the Mercury and the Venus, Scorpio and Leo working together again. Scorpio has been helping us deal with very deep age of Leo wounds that founded the false matrix, and we had to get to the seed point of them this year to begin building afresh. And at this full moon in Aries, that work, the difficult grunt work of that, is done. It's done. And that doesn't mean everything's going to be easy breezy, you know, but it does mean that we are able to, for as long as we're doing the soul work, shift very dynamically into something that we didn't really have access to before. It's all personal in nature, but without the collective shifts, there are places that we can't access yet. And that won't always be the case, you know. But for now, because we are recalibrating into our ability to move freely, this is how we get to certain checkpoints. Checkpoints collectively, but you don't get to utilize the checkpoint until you get to it internally and personally too. The gates must align personally and collectively for you to go through. I know, also astrologically speaking, with Venus in Scorpio at 29 degrees, there's something going on with the star of Regulus, 29 degrees Leo. I don't know if that would be a trine or what that would be in astrology, but I know that there's something going on there because we're dealing with fixed cross energies here. So, yeah. Okay, on to Mars. Mars in Cancer, 22 degrees. I love it. I love it. I fucking love it. Mars, the fighter, the warrior. You see what I mean when I say that this Mars energy is expressing itself. The moon in Aries, that's Cancer and Aries energy, and then Mars in Cancer, that's Aries and Cancer. It's like flip back to front kind of thing. Because Mars rules Aries and the moon rules Cancer. Anyway, Mars in Cancer at 22 degrees. 22 is a degree of mastery that connects us to Capricorn energy and the materialization of energy, the materialization of contracts, the material contracts and agreements that begin to come into into rotation on the earth planes, viscerally, tangibly. It comes through the number 22, okay, through the Capricorn axis. Not for nothing, Capricorn is Cancer's sister sign, so that in and of itself speaks of a balancing of the grids. The Tropic of Cancer, the Tropic of Capricorn. Something is occurring to restabilize the true grids of the earth into the position where we can be reinstated into our ability to produce and materialize in accordance with our soul value and wisdom, and we can't be capped anymore or stopped and blocked by the false matrix fuckery and frequency things that they did to keep us running against invisible walls and pinged back into lower timelines. Okay, so the Mars and Cancer is fighting through that. A lot of that was exacerbated and magnified through karmic family structures and through being in certain bloodlines, through the quantum entanglement programs. And the Mars and Cancer at 22 degrees is busting through that all the more. So this is a very liberating full moon, but it's liberating us into the freedom to dream, the freedom to begin now. You know, and not to say that there won't be some fighting and some, you know, pushing things out with your elbows, but the overall energy is here now to cater to your creative process and bringing forth who you are back onto the earth planes and what it is you came here to do. And all the planets are supporting you in that endeavor. We've got Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. They're all still in a retrograde phase, but Pluto has moved, is now going direct, has stationed and is moving directly, as we like to say, at the anaretic degree of Capricorn, 29 degree Capricorn, Leo degree. So as Pluto makes her way again through this closing degree of Capricorn, this is what is also pulling down the structures, the systems, the things that kept us bound materially in realities that mentally, emotionally, spiritually we never belonged in. We never belonged, but we were bound materially because of the programming, the programs, the systems, the institutions of the false matrix. And Pluto, as it's moving through Capricorn, it's again tearing those structures down. It's had us do the deep soul work, and now it's another time of demolition. But the demolition we're going to see is going to be a lot more external also this time around, because so many of us are doing the internal work and are actively walking away from these things. And as we actively walk away and we continue to heal and rise into our value, everything that devalued us must come down. Must come down in your personal reality, but it must also come down in the collective story too. So I'm not going to go through I'm not going to go through Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune right now, because I've got to get going. And the stories, I feel like every time I do them, it's like a repetition, because they'll be in these places for a while. Yes, they're retrograding. Yes, Saturn and Neptune, you know, in Pisces, that's kind of a big deal in this energy too. But again, that's to connect us deeper to the dreaming, you know, and to the orders, the new order that must be created to get rid of the structures that kept us in karmic loops. That's the Saturn at 13 degrees. 13 is the death card and a degree of Aries. And Neptune at 27 degrees, that's a degree of Gemini. So Neptune is helping us to flip the inversion and helping us to retune to our magic, but more on an emotional level. So Mercury connects us mentally to the infinite wisdom of the cosmos. Neptune connects us on a heart level to the infinite wisdom of the cosmos. So a part of that is a remembrance of that, but it's coming into conscious awareness more because we have it being expressed through a Gemini degree. But yes, 44 minutes and 44 seconds. I looked at the clock. So yeah, the nodes, 5-5 energy, I already kind of touched on that. We're moving deeper into liberation as we continue to make choices that honor self first, and then we show up one to another, and we choose to continue to stand our ground and honor self, and also reflect the true value we found in self. Only connect with those beings who we have a profound respect for their value now too, because that's how we create harmony on the earth. We don't co-create timelines and realities with beings we don't have the purest respect, love, and admiration for, because otherwise we are creating karmic fuckery again. Which is why, you know, you've been rolling with me for a while, you'll hear me say in my disclaimer, if you don't like me, go away. Not because I have a problem with you not liking me, but because you're creating karmic cycles. And not for me, but it is for me. Because it's for you, and what you're doing to yourself, you're creating in the collective story. Go and find the people that you like and you admire and you genuinely love, and help you to do that in yourself so that we can create beauty on the earth again. That's what that is about, you know? So this is what the 5-5 energy is helping us to remember this too, because a lot of our programming around creating with people, co-creating energies with people that we don't have the purity of respect and love and admiration for, it was a systemic thing. It's something we learned through the family structures, through education, through schooling, through the workforce. We were taught that we align with people who could get us somewhere, who could give us something, whether it was materially or through our intellectual property or through our, you know, our social currency. We just wanted to cling to people who would get us through doors that we should be getting through ourselves on our own merit and the power of our own souls. Because that's what we were taught we had to do. Got a network, right? Wrong. Find those souls that mirror back to you your beauty and your value, and co-create with them, and let's bring back some beauty and harmony back on the earth, and let's stop with the karmic fuckery. And this is what this full moon is helping us to do and to remember, and to tune deeper into the ability to see and to therefore actualize. So that's what I have for you. I hope that this was helpful and insightful. For those of you over on Substack, I will be doing a short full moon in Aries report that will be available also on the day of the full moon. What else? If you'd like to work with me, you can check out my website, solara.info, if you'd like a tarot astrology reading or a divine alignment reading, or you would like to have a one-to-one soul recovery session with me. You can read up on my offerings as well as my smaller services I have there too. Read up on them, and then you book with me by emailing me directly so that we can coordinate payment and time. Okay, so there is an option for you to book a slot through my calendar, but you still need to reach out to me, and we'll confirm that slot and confirm payment, and that's how you are able to have access to my services. Okay, so solara.info, and you can email me. All information will be in the description box below, but the best email to email me on, so to avoid a lot of the shenanigans and fuckery, is solaraspeaks@proton.me. Okay, alrighty, I'm sending you love. Happy full moon in Aries.